Hey y'all, welcome to the Suburban Stitcher podcast. My name is Diane and today is August 26th, 2018. I'm coming to you from Richmond, Texas, which is where I live with my husband, 2 boys, 1 dog in the suburbs of Houston. And I have a house full of screaming boys right now, so there's that. I'm sure you'll hear that ambient noise throughout. Tomorrow is the first day of school for us. It cannot come soon enough. So I am so excited to be here with you today. Like I said, coming to you from Texas, which has been normal but hot. And I know that many of you are looking to September, getting very close to those cool evenings and cool breezes, and I wish you all of that and wish you could send it to me. But it's actually been an okay summer so far here, and yeah, it's been a really good summer with the boys. And all of that to say, I'm really still very happy for them to go to school tomorrow. Okay, so let's start off with some announcements. I have the winner for the Get Suburban Cal, which is our ongoing year-long or longer knit-along, where anything that you knit out of Suburban Stitcher yarn that is 50% or more of that project is knit out of Suburban Stitcher yarn, then you can enter it for prizes. Doesn't matter how big it is, how many yards it is, just as long as half of it is knit out of my yarn. And I did random number generator for that, and the winner is post number 67, and that is Pat Skeen, and she crocheted a pair of socks out of the Coffee and Donuts colorway, which, by the way, is on sale right now. That's a discontinued color. So whatever you see there is all that there is ever going to be. So if that color has been calling to you, all of the skeins of that on every base are on sale. I think it's like 25 or 30% off right now in the shop. So you should definitely go take a look. Yes, so congratulations, Pat Skeen. If you will send me a message, you have won a pattern prize of your choice up to $8. So any $8 US, just send me a message and I will gift you the pattern. Another announcement that's very exciting, and I actually just got confirmation from my friend Sally, the Wool Slayers podcast, which is 2 friends of mine, Sally and Alan. They live in the DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. They have a podcast called The Wool Slayers, and they are hosting, and I am jumping on the bandwagon with them. So I guess collectively we are hosting a Birds of a Feather knit-along. As you know, I have literally 5 sets of yarn to knit this shawl, and I'm actually having one sample knit for the shop by someone else. So, and she says that it's flying off of her needles because it's so addictive and so fun. So I am jumping in on this knit along because I want to knit up at least one of my kits. I think it's just looks like an absolutely gorgeous pattern. So they are hosting a Birds of a Feather knit along. I am hosting it along with them. The rules are really simple. You have to knit Birds of a Feather by Andrea Mowry. You can use any yarn you like, it doesn't matter, but extra meaningless bonus points if you use Suburban Stitcher yarn. I guess. Sally and Alan actually are both using Suburban Stitcher yarn, so that's really exciting. And yeah, so whips are allowed because we're starting whenever you can start. I think we're going to end it October 31st. So you've got a couple of months to knit that shawl. And from what I hear from everyone that I know that's knit it, is that it's really fun, really addictive, and it flies off your needles. So I am hoping that is the case for me as well. So I think that just about does it for announcements. So now I want to talk to you about finished objects. And if you've been watching for a while, if you've been following me on Instagram, then you might know what it is. I'm so excited. I finished my Sunset Highway. Ah! I love this sweater so much. I am going to be inserting somewhere here some video of me wearing it and all of that, you know, the in motion full body wearing of this pattern. So let's just go ahead and say we will enter that here. So let's talk about this knit. There's so many details that I want to give you. I know I've been talking about it for a year, but we're going to hash it all out, recap it all right now. I absolutely love this sweater. I absolutely loved knitting it. I am just devastated that I didn't finish it last year, because it would have been epic to wear last year, and I'm going to just wear the heck out of it now. Okay, so here it is. This is Sunset Highway by Caitlin Hunter, Boyland Knitworks. It is a very, very popular sweater. I knit this out of Suburban Stitcher single sock, which is a single ply fingering weight yarn, in the 2 a.m. Kisses colorway. Coal is the black. This green that you find here and on the sleeves is is Spanish moss, and this color is Tainted Love. All of them were on my single sock base. This Spanish moss is actually a glittered single sock, which is a discontinued base for me, but I carried it for a little while. It was super fun. I had one skein of this left and just used it for the sweater. So that one actually has a little bit of stellina in it, so for some extra sparkle. This sweater used one skein or partial skeins, and I have estimated yardage on my pattern page based on my leftovers of the black, the green, and the pink. And then I used about 2 1/3 skeins for the purpley gray main color, 2 a.m. Kisses. I talked at length about my concern with, I had initially just pulled 2 skeins to use from the shop, and then realized about 2/3 of the way through the body that I was definitely going to need that 3rd skein in order to make it to the length and all of the size that I wanted. And so I talked a lot about my worries about the color matching of that 3rd skein. So what I did in order to make the bottom kind of 1/3 of this sweater feel like I didn't have this major line where I added in the 3rd skein that was a little bit different, is I used helix knitting. And thank you to all of you who recommended that to me. There was one person that actually put a link in the video, and I am telling you, that was life-changing for me. I used helix knitting for the bottom, like here, basically from here down on the body, and it was so easy. The thing that I love about it, maybe even the most, is that I feel like we've been taught, and maybe it's because we do a lot of like wrapping yarn when you are doing a shawl and you're knitting flat and you have like 2-color stripes, or you're alternating skeins on the side of something that's going to be flat. You'll see in patterns where it says, you know, catch this yarn or wrap the yarn in order to catch it, you know, when you're alternating skeins that way. And I feel like that's just fine for the side of a shawl. When you do that in a sweater where you're doing that every round and you're kind of twisting it over, it pulls those stitches tight, and then you start to get a line. Helix knitting basically throws that out of the water, throws it out, and says, basically, you're just picking up the new color. And when you get to the new color, you just drop the old one, pick up the new one, and start knitting. And it's absolutely amazing that that works. And you don't see where I changed skeins in the sweater. Like you don't see the lines near as noticeably as you might have if I had been wrapping it every line. And I will show you the difference. There's one side of the sweater. You can see it actually quite noticeably when I'm wearing it. So right here, this is underneath one of the underarms. So if you look here, this kind of line right here is where I was alternating skeins. And you can see on this side of that line, the stitches are very small and tight. And then on this side, they were a lot looser. And that's because I was doing that wrap every single time to switch skeins. When you get down here towards the bottom, there are certainly some spots that aren't perfect. But actually, oh, and here's the thing. You can see it. I should probably just show you the inside of this even better. So here's the line down the side where I was alternating skeins and switching. Here is where I started doing helix knitting. And look how it doesn't create the line. Do you see that where it ends right there? There's no more line right there where I was just dropping and then just picking up the new one without wrapping it. And on the right side, the tension is infinitely better. So from about there down, tension is so much better. So all I can say is that I definitely encourage you to try helix knitting. The other thing is that I also alternated skeins on the sleeves. And that was because I had 2 skeins that were enough different to where I felt that was very important. I even alternated in these color work sections, these few, 5 or 6 or 4 or 5 rows, excuse me, here. I even alternated there. I just wanted it to be as cohesive as possible. And I feel like I achieved that. So was it tedious? Absolutely yes. Did it make it way less portable? Absolutely yes. Did it require me to knit much of that color work part kind of sitting at a table or in my bed, with like switching all these balls of yarn? Absolutely it did. I feel like the result was 1,000 times worth it. So I don't regret any of that work. Here, size-wise, I knit the medium for the top and knit in picked up, or like, cast on when you put sleeve stitches on hold and then you cast on more for underneath the underarm. I cast on to get me up to the large size. And that seemed to work well. I do not have little petite arms for my size, so I needed to have a few more sleeve stitches. And then, of course, my body definitely is pear-shaped, so I wanted that large size on the bottom. if I were to knit this again, and if I had notes for myself for the potential, you know, next garment that was created in this manner, I would probably still knit the medium at the top. That's fine. I would do the large for the sleeves. The sleeves fit fine. They're, you know, they're fitted as they should be right here. I would maybe even add some after getting to the large size for like the torso part. As I got closer to my waist, I would maybe even add some increases over the hip area to get to the extra large size. And that's just my body shape. It fits nicely through here. It's nice and loose in my kind of upper waist and torso area. And then once I get to my, you know, kind of below my belly button towards my hips, it definitely gets snugger as my body gets wider there. So I also did not swatch before casting on this project, and it was fine. I cast on the medium to the large size knowing that there was a ton of ease worked in, and I was about 2 stitches over 4 inches smaller at my finished gauge than what she recommends. So she recommends, I think, 22 stitches per inch, and I had 24 stitches per inch. So that means that if I had met gauge, I would have had some of that ease put in there. It also tells me kind of that I, for her patterns, can go up a needle size from what she recommends. And that's the great thing about kind of knowing yarns that you're working with. If your gauge is kind of, you know, staying the same, which I feel like my gauge is fairly consistent these days. And then as you work with designers more and more, you know their sizes, you know how their sizes fit with the yarn that you're using and all of that. And should you swatch? Yes, I don't always. So anyway, I love this. I absolutely love it. And I'm so proud to have another sweater. So I will be wearing this for sure at Knit City and at Rhinebeck. And I hope that you all come say hi and give me hugs. And I can't wait to give you all hugs, everybody that I get to meet. So that is Sunset Highway. So Sunset Highway, right? I feel like that was the never ending whip. But honestly, oh, the other thing I didn't mention about it is that I started it August 18th, 2017, and I finished it August 18th, 2018, and that was by design. Once I knew that it was going to be right at that, I mean, I made sure that it didn't go past the 18th. I just felt like I needed to have that on the needles for just a year. That was enough. Okay, so works in progress. I has started, I think I showed this maybe last week. I'm pretty sure. I actually picked it up and did some work on it because once I finished Sunset Highway, I just really wanted another colorwork sweater. So I started really working on this. But I am working on Alyeska, which is another fingering weight sweater with some colorwork by Caitlin Hunter. Let's see if I can find a page to show you. Yeah, this is the size chart, so that should be fine. That is the sweater in black and white. Hers is kind of grays with this orange. Let me come up that way. With that orange detail up at the top. I am knitting mine out of the 4 main body colors are 4 colors of Spun Right Round. The colors I've been using so far, this light gray with speckles is called Dingo. This is all in her classic sock. And then I have started the first colorwork section, which is actually 3 colors on each row right here for a while. So that's a little bit slow going, but I'm so happy with my color choices. The dark plummy purple is called Tanked. That's also by Spun Right Round. And I was initially going to use this, which is a little leftover nugget of single ply yarn from 716 Knit. It's a shawl that I knit a couple of years ago. And I just wasn't sure that I was going to have enough. And I thought, you know, what if I didn't have enough and I had one more row? That would be horrible. So I swapped it out for a skein of my mohair lace in the Sari Silk colorway, which is very similar to that color. So that was nice to see. I liked this color. And then I'm holding it double with some leftover Madeline Tosh lace in the Lepidoptera colorway. This is a shawl that I knit, gosh, I don't even know how long ago, but it's those tonal pinks and orchids and purples. And I think they're super fun together. And I love the color that it's making when it's held double. So, and I'm excited about the texture that mohair is going to give. So that is Alyeska. I did not swatch for this, but it called for using the same needle sizes that I used on my last sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And so what I did is I went up a needle size. And that is hopefully going to work out just fine. I can definitely tell that it's a looser gauge than my Sunset Highway unblocked, which means it should be great when it's blocked. It will be flowy and open, much more open. I am knitting what did I say, the large size? Yes, size large, which is the 4th size, because she has extra small, then small, medium, large. Yes, so I'm knitting the large, and I think that's really it for right now. There's not much to tell. It will be, this yoke chart is, like I said, a little bit slow going because there are 3 colors to deal with on most of the rows, you know, and we're up at 260 plus stitches per round. So it gets up there, and then when you're swapping colors, it's a little bit slow, but I'm really focusing on my tension, trying to make sure that all of that is just going to be nice and good. So that is Alyeska. I worked on my Carbeth cardigan. I'm all about the sweaters right now, and you will see that. So last time I worked on the Carbeth, I had finished the body and I had one sleeve finished, and I have started the second sleeve, and I'm almost done with the increases on this sleeve, and then I will have to knit it straight for a little while. So here's the first sleeve. So I'm a little more than halfway done with it. So I've just got a little bit left to knit on that, and then I get to join it all together. Just start knitting back and forth with the decreases, so it'll get smaller. I'm very intrigued to see, you know, how this line goes. I actually really hope that that's going to be flattering on me. I think it should be. The narrowest part of my body is my upper body, and so I hope that giving that detail draws attention up and actually is nice and flattering. That was sort of my intent with this. So yeah, so that is Carbeth. There's really not a whole lot to talk about it. I worked on it, you know, for just a day or two, but I'm holding DK weight double on size 10.5 needles, and so I can only knit on that for a little bit of time before my hands start to feel like I can feel like I'm working with big fat needles. So that gets, you know, a few rounds here and there, and that's it. But hopefully I should have the sleeve finished by the next episode. I am still continuing to work on my test knit sweater that I am doing for a friend. It is, I will show you again, it is out of my salted caramel colorway. So here's the 2 skeins. You can see my skeins are getting smaller, so I'm making good progress. I'm knitting that. This color is not in the shop right now, but if it's one that you desire, you can definitely send me a custom order request, and I'll be happy to do that. I'll talk a little bit more about custom orders in the shop news section. And then the last thing that I worked on this week is a pair of socks. And this again was a whip that I've pulled back out and really want to finish. My goal is definitely to finish this, I mean, in the next month. So it's not really a strict goal, obviously. This is another project that's knit at a gauge that's a little bit dense, which is great for socks, but it is a little bit tougher on my hands, so I can't do a lot of it every day. But I had knit the first sock as part of a test knit for Hohi. This is her new Indigo Leaves sock pattern. So there's the pattern. It's a beautiful motif running down the front of the sock. This is knit on Madeline Tosh Work Sock, which is a sport to DK. I would say it's a plump sport for sure. Sport weight yarn. Again, the pattern is Indigo Leaves by Hohi Locatelli. Oh, I didn't show what I'm doing. I cast it on just over the last few weeks, the second one, and I'm halfway through the second leaf, it looks like. So that's coming along. It came with me to church today, so I got a little bit of knitting on it. The motif is intuitive enough, and I have it memorized now, that it can be a travel project, which is great. So that will mean that it will get a little more work on it. And I also have some carpool line knitting in my future. So that again means that some of these smaller travel projects and maybe like Carbeth sleeves will get some attention because those are much easier to bring in the car. So that is it for my works in progress. For Hello Lovelies this week, I actually have some fun things to show you. I have, let's see, first of all, I want to show you some beautiful yarn that I purchased on my vacation. I said last episode that I was going to slowly be showing you some of those things that I got while I was in Virginia and Washington, D.C. And I want to show you what I purchased from Looped Yarn Works, Looped Yarn Co., Looped, in Washington, D.C., I guess in the DuPont Circle area. I purchased six skeins of this gorgeous yarn that I'm absolutely in love with. It's a color that I had seen online, but I guess I hadn't seen it in real life because I don't have any stores around me that sell Quince & Co. And when I saw it in real life in this large quantity, I had to get it. So this is Quince & Co. Turn, which is 75% American wool, 25% silk. And this is in the in the terracotta colorway. Yes, they're all terracotta. Now I was worried. Yes, terracotta. And it is exactly a beautiful orangish, peachish, tan terracotta color. It's absolutely stunning. I do not have an immediate plan for these, but I got enough to either make a large shawl or a top of some sort. I think the wool silk blend would lend itself really perfectly to just about anything. This is 6 skeins and they're 50 grams skeins. So it's about the equivalent of, like 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn. And yes, 221 yards per skein. So I am so excited about these. I purchased their enamel pen as well for their store. And I also purchased, I think I put it up, and I'm going to have to find it. I purchased one skein of where is it? Oh, it's right here. I purchased a skein of Wool and Boon in the A Skein Has No Name colorway. So that, oh my gosh, these would be beautiful together. Haha. Look at that. That's Lavender Loon and Wool and Boon. Wouldn't those be very pretty? So that is what I purchased from Looped Yarn Works. And then when I was in Williamsburg, Virginia, I went with my sister and my cousin to the Flying Needles, I believe that's what it's called. And this is Kim Dye's yarn on her 70% superwash merino, 30% silk. She calls it her flan fingering, and the colorway is Coreopsis. So it's this beautiful light pink with bright pink and purple and yellow speckles. So I stayed very much within my my color wheelhouse for those purchases. So also for Hello Lovelies, I got a gift from my parents. They just got back from a 3-week amazing vacation to Norway and Finland and Edinburgh and London. And my mom, I told her that I wanted something that had a Marius print on it from Norway. And if she happened to see a yarn store, that I wanted some Norwegian yarn. And she delivered. So thanks, Mom. So I want to show you what I got. First thing is she surprised me with this, and it's so stunningly beautiful. It is a 100% cashmere scarf from Edinburgh. And yeah, Edinburgh 100% cashmere. It says mini scarf in the color Thompson Pale Pink. And it is so light and beautiful. I am so excited to be able to add this to my wardrobe. It's lovely. Absolutely gorgeous. This will be so nice. Oh, it's so soft. So I got this. I also received something with Marius on it. And she got me, these are 100% wool socks. So I will be wearing the heck out of them. One thing that I thought was really cool, and it said right here, it has the actual size on there, 40 to 42, which I wear a women's like a 40. So they fit perfectly. And I thought that was great to actually have the socks sized like that. So I have my Marius socks, and she said that when she was in a fabric store buying some trims and things in Norway, she said, oh, is there a yarn store close? And they said, actually, yes, it's right next door. And what was next door? But, of course, Sandnesgarn, which is a very famous Norwegian Wool Company. So she bought me some silk mohair in this beautiful watery blue color, which looks like the fjords in my opinion. It is 60% mohair, 15% wool, 25% silk, 50 grams, and it's, oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. So soft. Much softer than a lot of the wool, excuse me, the mohair silk blends. I guess that bit of wool in there, it's amazing. Then she also got me this skein, which I'm really excited to come up with a project to use. It is the Sandnesgarn Tweed. And let's see if it has a colorway. Color number 1044. And this has a unique composition. It's 40% baby alpaca, 32% viscose, 20% polyamide, 8% merino wool. So it's alpaca, it's got some nylon in there and merino. And it's basically the blends make it ending up about roughly 50-50 wool, animal fiber to nylon blend. And it's so soft. The tweed in here is so epic. So I guess this is probably considered a fingering to a sport weight. Maybe they would consider it a DK just because of the halo on it, but I wonder how many yards. 50 grams is about 150 meters. So yeah, that's probably like a fingering to sport weight. So that's really fun. And then this last skein is so soft. This is a Rauma, which of course is something that we all, a name that we've heard of. Rauma is it, I would say, if it was Spanish, I would say puño, but it's puno melange. I don't think it's puño in Norwegian. This is baby alpaca, extra fine merino, and polyamide. So she got me some really interesting blends and some pretty teals and blues. Thanks, Mom! So those are some fun souvenirs. And then on my crafting horizon, I really have been itching to make some garments, to do some garment sewing. I was gifted 2 beautiful Japanese sewing pattern books from a friend, and I have been pouring through them. We have decided that we are going to sew one of the patterns up together to have like a little sew along, and I think she's already done hers like twice. So I'm super behind. My sewing machine is not even set up these days because it used to live right here. So it obviously doesn't anymore. But today I think I'm going to take some time to cut out some patterns. And so I had been looking at these beautiful Japanese patterns, and they are 100% in Japanese. And I know that you can take Google Translate and with your phone and hold it over and try to get everything translated, but I was really still concerned about my skill level, and having not sewn anything in so long that was a garment, I wanted a little more hand holding. So I ordered 2 patterns. It is they're both by 100 Acts of Sewing. I ordered the dress number 2, which is the long sleeved, or you can make it really any length sleeve, I'm sure, but it has a sleeve, little dress tunic. And then I also ordered skirt number 1. Amber from Yarn Hoarder has made a million of these. And yeah, so I think I'm going to start by maybe making this dress and making sure that I remember how to sew garments, remember how to do totally different seam allowances and curves and all of those things. And then I will break into the Japanese pattern. So I'm excited to actually cut some things out, hopefully this afternoon, for some sewing. So that's exciting. The last little piece that I would like to talk about is shop news. And so I have a few things to talk about. First up, I want to remind everyone of my trunk show at the Modern Skein in Montgomery. I almost said Montgomery, Alabama. Sorry, Alabama. If a yarn store wants to pay for me to travel and stay in Alabama, then I'm happy to do a trunk show there. But this one is in Montgomery, Texas. It is on Saturday, September 8th. I will be bringing all of my new yarn colors and some even new ones. I will have maybe a sneak preview of some Christmas colors if I can get those knocked out. So I'm really excited about that show. I will have shawl ideas and all of my samples, and it's just going to be a really great time. I will have mohair fingering weight on several bases as well as DK weight. The second piece of shop news is that I have added a new custom order tab on the website. I've always taken custom orders, well, always in the last 6 months or so. But I want to remind everyone that when I say custom order, it means for a quantity that is not in stock or a base that is not currently in stock, but it's always for existing colorways. And I will reserve the right if it's a seasonal colorway or something that was exclusive. I definitely will reserve the right to say, no, I will not dye that one anymore. There are only a few of those particular things that fall into that category, but mostly it is a free-for-all for whatever you need to order in whatever quantity. I'm happy to work with you. And the last little piece, it's shop news, but it's kind of a fun little thing that I wanted to show you before I show you some of my new colorways. So I mentioned on Instagram that I'm getting a lot better about asking for help where I need it as it relates to Suburban Stitcher business and getting things done. And I have reached out to a couple of friends who have done some sample knitting for me. I think I mentioned earlier that I have a friend knitting a birds of a feather. She says it's zooming along. I think she's probably 3/4 of the way done in barely over a week. So I'm very excited about that. I can't wait to see it. And then I have this hat that just returned to me. So this is the Kobook hat by Caitlin Hunter. This is knit out of one skein of DK, my merino DK, and one skein of the silky mohair lace. The colorway is Oyster, which is a fairly new colorway to the shop. It is also, this color is the exact same color that I am using for the top of my shawl that I am designing. So there it is, knit by itself. There it is, held with mohair. Just absolutely love it. And these were probably sister skeins, like dyed in the same pot together. So I love how the mohair just makes it so dreamy, and that halo, so soft. This is the size medium large. I did not block it, but it has been steam blocked just to open up some of those stitches a little bit, even things out. Yeah, but it has not been blocked. It fits perfectly. This is the small to medium adult, I guess I should say. I will not try it on because then my hair will be an absolute wreck. But you get the idea. Okay, so much yarn in my hands. All right, so first up, I want to show you, just pulled out a sample of some of these on a couple of bases. So this is all in stock, ready to ship, and it's in the shop live as we speak. This is a new colorway called Masquerade. I think I showed this on Instagram even. But this is on single sock and mohair. This is Masquerade, which is a light, kind of very gray purple. It's definitely purple, but it's like a grayed out lavender purple with navy and kind of a pinky red and ochre yellow speckles, I guess is the best way to say that. So that's Masquerade. That Old Chestnut, which is a really fun chestnut brown with some kind of red places in there as well. And this is again on single sock and merino, mohair silk lace weight. This has been in the shop, but I added it on single ply. It's Rosé All Day. This is a new colorway. I designed these last two colors to be used together. I wanted to experiment with having two different base colors with the exact same speckles. So I wanted a kind of a light and then a dark. And so I have the light, and because of that, they both have kind of South Louisiana names. I was just in a very nostalgic place, I guess, the day that I dyed these. So they have names that remind me of growing up in Louisiana. So this is Evangeline, and it is a light pinky mauve base with kind of a fuchsia magenta, that kind of orangey yellow and brown speckles. And this is Lagniappe, which is spelled like lag nappy, but it's Lagniappe. Lagniappe means a little something extra, and this has a lot of extra speckles, and so it felt like Lagniappe. This is a medium to dark pink base with those exact same color speckles. So as you can see, they work very, very well together. And they're definitely two of my favorite new colors. I love them so, so much. A lot of these colors have one or more similar colors in them, these 4 new colors that I just showed you. So they actually work quite well together. Let me show you that. So if you look at them as a set, this would be a gorgeous 3-color something. These two are beautiful. These two are beautiful. Oh gosh, that's very pretty. Yeah, I just absolutely, I was feeling these dyes the week that I dyed these, and yeah, I'm very, very excited about these 4 kind of fall colors. So I think that is it for this week. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I encourage you to hit the thumbs up like button, and then also make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. You can do so right here. I think it's on this side. And I just thank you so much for continuing to support this podcast, support this business, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.